You're listening to The Lowdown, a podcast inspired by the creative people in the bass making community. I'm Frankie. I'll be sitting down with bass makers to explore what drives them creatively and to find out what challenges they face in the business of bass. Let's find out what it's all about. Let's get The Lowdown. Hey, welcome to The Lowdown. Super stoked. Today we got Michael Rumpza here. And hey, welcome to the show, Mike.
Hey,
Michael,
thanks.
Whatever the
nice
case may be.
Yeah, Mike is good.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on. Love getting folks like Mike on because you're basically like a hobby builder, right? I mean, you
Exactly.
build for fun for yourself, and I think that's most of us when you get right down to it. So that's pretty damn cool. So, yeah, I guess in terms of obviously you play bass, play guitar. How did that all get started for you? Like, what's your
Sure.
origin story, I guess?
Yeah. So
Cool.
From the time I was, I don't know how young, like grade schooler, I wanted to play guitar. And my mom and dad got me a acoustic nylon string guitar when I was in 6th grade. So I just loved that. And then 9th grade came along, and some of the guys in my high school were starting a rock band, and I knew the drummer. And everybody else, the personnel of the band were all set. So I was not to be in the band. But then I knew the drummer, and he brought me along, and I said, hey, I'll play bass. And they were like, okay, great, because nobody else wants to play bass. So that's how I got in the band, and that's how I started to play bass. And started to play on the high school, I think it was Standell bass amp or a Mossrite. I'm sorry, Standell bass guitar or a Mossrite bass guitar, just a hollow body thing with an awful neck, just awful. Anyway, we kind of horsed around with music through high school, and then toward the end of our high school years, we actually started gigging and playing out a cover band. Started writing a few songs, and then college came. We did it for like a couple years in college, and then I kind of dropped it. I had kind of a conversion and ended up doing a whole different kind of music for a long time. Played in a lot of bands in that area. Actually have songs published around the world, believe it or not.
Wow.
And played mostly guitar for that, but also did some bass. And then the rock band got back together about 2007, 2008. I don't know how many years ago that is, for our 25th year reunion, and had a few more 10 years or so more fun of playing. And then the drummer developed a problem with his wrists where he couldn't play for more than an hour because he hit the drums so hard, right? So we kind of had to stop. But we've got an album that's like 75% complete. It's been 75% complete for about 10 years now. And I'm like pulling my hair out.
That game, yeah.
I'm trying to get the guys, come on, let's just finish it. Just to say it's done, it'd be so cool. But yeah, so I've done all kinds of music. I write songs. I do production at home, in a home studio with my Mac, and just do stuff like that. Started building guitars actually in high school in shop class. So I had the guitar player in our band, I just thought, well, I'd like to build a flying V just because I wanted to build one. So my uncle had a big slab of oak, believe it or not. And I didn't know anything, absolutely nothing about building guitars. So I got the slab of oak from my uncle, and then I didn't know how to make necks. So I went to a guitar store and just bought the cheapest electric guitar I could find, which happened to be this Tisco guitar.
Nice. Yeah.
Now I've since replaced the neck on it because the original neck from this is on the Flying V somewhere in the world. Anyway, so I had the Tisco as a model for the neck pocket and all that kind of stuff, and I built it in shop class. And of course it's oak, so it's got super wide grains, and I didn't know anything about grain filler or anything, and I spray painted it probably just with Rust-Oleum or something, so you could see the wood grain through the black paint and whatnot. But it ended up being a really nice electric guitar. The guitar player in the band used it for years. And then I got to college and needed money, so I sold it for $100, which was really stupid to do, right? It's my first guitar, and I sell it. And I used to tell the guitar player, I said, it was stupid of me to sell that guitar. And I said, the only thing stupider was you not buying it. But anyway, so it's gone. And then I did a couple others. Just as a little show and tell here. Sorry, these are on the wall here. So this is one that I built, uh,
Oh, super
which is
cool.
it's a
Yeah.
12 string electric, and it's kind of hard to do this with the video stuff, but
Well,
it
I mean,
is.
the fact that you're on the International Space Station and you're somehow like you have
Maybe if I
artificial gravity, that's blowing my
maybe if
mind,
I
to be
turned
perfectly
that
honest.
off. Hold on.
That's okay. I think it's cool as hell.
Choose virtual background. None. Maybe yeah, there. Now you can see the
There you
guitar
go.
better.
Cool.
Okay, so this is made out of black walnut, which came from a tree that was in my front yard that we took down.
Oh,
I
that's
thought, well,
cool.
I want to make something out of this. So I made a guitar. It's an electric 12 string. Don't play it much, but it's kind of cool looking. And I got this from Rickenbacker before they stopped selling these to people. I don't know if you know the
Oh, no
story on those.
kidding. Yeah.
They won't sell them to you anymore unless you turn in an old one. They've got an old broken one, they'll replace it because people were doing this and they didn't like it. But my last name is Rumpza, so I thought, well, and then another fun little feature on this guitar. I don't know if you can see the nameplate.
Oh, that's cool.
So I got the nameplate. I was working for a company called Deluxe Czech back in the day, and this was like 2000s, right around there. And they were experimenting with selling personalized products. And I worked on this project and got a free gift from them. So the gift I bought, I got a cigar box with my name engraved on it. Took the cover of the cigar box, cut it off, cut it to this shape, and filled in the wood filler to make
That's
the nameplate.
awesome. Yeah.
It's just like, you got to do what you can do. So
that's a cool guitar. I can't remember what model of Rick that reminds me of, but
the 481 is their 6-string electric.
yeah, and they had a version of it with the slanted frets.
I've always wondered about that. I would love to get my hands on one of those just to see what it's like.
I've got the Rickenbacker book around here someplace, and I used to be a lot more familiar with it, but it's kind of like half of a 40-80 double deck in a way.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. And actually, I built it as a 6-string, and then decided I'd rather have a 12-string, so I converted it, which was like another interesting little thing to do. So when I converted it, I had to basically cut these black walnut wings off the neck, and then make new ones so that I could put the the 12-string holes in it. I made two big mistakes on my guitars. This one, the mistake I made, you probably can't see this very well, but this has got the Rickenbacker 12-string bridge sitting in here.
Oh yeah, the little cover on it. Yeah.
And it's supposed to sit on top of the body, but I didn't like what was I thinking? I didn't measure the distance between the neck and the body, so it would have been, the strings would have been like a half inch off the neck if I would have put it on top of the body. So I had to route out a hole to drop the bridge.
So a little recess to kind of get to the right height. Yeah.
And it's like, you should measure it, Mike, just don't just assume.
But that being said, though, I mean, you found yourself kind of like in a hole, but you were able to figure out a way to get out of it. And that's, that's a lot of it right there. I mean, somebody looking at that guitar would just assume hey, you did this on purpose.
You did it on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll tell anybody who asks me, except for you. So
you've let the secrets out. Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like you were talking about getting kind of started in shop class, and it's one of the bones I have to pick with my local. We have I'm here in Maine, and we have a really awesome school department, but they just a couple years ago they finally finished renovating the high school, and the thing they left out was shop. That's
oh my gosh.
That's what got cut, for whatever reason, be it budgetary or insurance or something. And I don't know. I mean, for me, that was like my favorite, one of my favorite classes.
Because wood. You think when you're in high school, you think wood, right? Wood and glue. But when you go to shop class, you learn how to join things and how all kinds of stuff you just didn't know about how to do wood right. My second project for my next year in shop class was I built a 4x12 speaker cabinet, kind of modeled after the Fender Bassman 4x12.
Oh, nice.
4x10 speaker, 4x12.
Did you do box joints and the whole bit?
Yeah, we did box joints.
Very nice.
I couldn't find a I found the grill cloth. So the grill cloth looks good, but I couldn't find the right Tolex, cover stuff. So we just had
Sure.
vinyl on it. So that didn't look, but from the front, it looked really good. So that was kind of fun.
Cool. Well, that's a whole. I mean, again, it's a whole other skill and another undertaking. I mean,
Yes,
to do that, properly and everything, not have the thing rattle apart. You know.
exactly. Especially for a bass. Yeah.
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 No doubt. So in terms of bases, like what have you done for bases?
So I've got
Oh,
some photos here, but I've got the
I'm
real
already gonna
McCoy
like
here
this. Yeah, this
back
this
here.
is
So this is
yeah.
what I call the Rick Explorer because it's an Explorer, but it's modeled after the setup is basically Rickenbacker.
Yeah.
The neck, and I have Bartolini Rick replacement pickups. I have a hip shot Rick replacement bridge on it, and then I constructed this. Um, it's a piece of ebony, I think, to mimic the Rick's string
Oh, the
thing.
mute.
So you
Yeah.
can, yeah, because I set my wrists on it when I play, and
Oh, that's
without that,
cool.
I wouldn't have that. And on this guitar, I made the opposite mistake. So I built it, set the bridge on it, and it was too low.
Oh, no
So I don't
kidding.
know if
So
you can see this. I had to
had to make a
actually
lifter.
there's a little
Hey.
maple lifter, and it's like once again, I took it to a local acoustic guitar maker, and I said, what do I do here? Because I can't, you can't make the top higher. And he goes, oh, just put a little piece of wood in there. In fact, I'll get
Yeah.
you one. And he just made it for me, and the thing sounds great. It's got incredible sustain, and just really really cool sound. And then the other cool thing I did is you can see the
There you go.
the, the
Yeah.
logo plate there. Now this one, um, I had a son who was an engineering student at Notre Dame, and he had access to a CNC machine, so he made this with a CNC machine for me. So I've got
Oh,
the
that's
perfect,
fantastic.
raised letters and whatnot. And I put a drop D on this. I at the time was playing with a 5-string and a 4-string Rick, um, and a 5-string Schecter. And then I thought, you know what? I'll just put a drop D on this, and maybe I can use this as my one guitar.
Well,
And then the band dissolved before I had a chance. So
well,
can I
well,
can I
well,
show
the
you
band
some pictures?
dissolving isn't cool, but you know what is cool is the fact that on a normal Rick 4001 or 4003, there's not enough room
Yes.
between
Yep.
the E string tuner and the G string tuner to actually fit a D tuner. So you're kind of like SOL if you're someone who likes having a D tuner. You can't get
So
one on there.
So I'll walk you through some of these pictures
Cool.
of the build if you want. So this is, I bought the neck from online. By the way, doing this project was so fun
It,
because
is that a lace neck? Because it looks familiar. Like I've seen it on like one of those, like that headstock shape. It looks
well,
familiar.
headstock came square. I made the a
Oh,
headstock.
cool. Oh,
And
awesome. That's a cool.
I try to do that on most of the builds that I do.
It's an
I've
awesome
done a
shape.
few with that
So
headstock.
you have
It's actually kind of a modified version of the T-Sco headstock.
oh, that's cool. I mean, seriously, like one of the coolest guitars I ever had, even though it was built terribly. I had this Tisco, this huge headstock and four single coils, like the rectangular single coils,
With the
and
four
and
switches.
like a Bigsby type of thing on it, and all kinds of switches. Yeah, so you could get all kinds of different coil combinations, and it would feed back. It was awesome. Yeah, I missed that. But fingerboard, like a country
Yeah.
road,
So anyway,
basically.
I
Yeah,
had a fun time with this because it was, I had never built a bass, and I thought, I'm a bass player. Why don't I build a bass? And so
yeah,
I did, but there was no rush. It was like, well, I'll just, go see what I can find out. So the first thing is, I wanted a through body neck because on basses, I've had basses with bolt on necks, and they don't feel right to me, right? So I wanted a through body neck. So I couldn't go to like Warmoth or anybody like that because they don't make them. So I just had to Google around, and I found this place called Soulmate Guitars. I believe the guy's name was Doug Darling. I don't think he's operating anymore. But so I sent him a note and said, hey, I'm looking for a bass neck. Would you be willing to build me a through body neck? And we talked and over sent emails back and forth. And he said sure, and we got it all worked out. And so then I did my best to measure the my Rickenbacker 4001 neck,
I was going to
And
ask, is it a Rick scale length or a Fender
yeah,
scale length? Yeah,
it was supposed to be like Rick as much as we could do it. So he
gotcha.
did it. He built the neck. He did that, and then I bought a template for the Explorer base body. Yeah, this is just set out. We don't have it glued up yet. We're
Oh,
just like laying it
yeah,
out and looking what it looks like.
it really does look like it came from the same piece, like especially if you kind of like follow the grain from one side to the other. I mean,
Yeah, it was really nice of him to do that, and he just kind of did it on his own.
that's super
Um,
cool. Well, if you ever
so
remember who
there's,
they were, we can like advertise for them. That'd be fantastic.
I'll try to look it up later. So there's actually the gluing process right there.
Very nice.
Everything's clamped down.
And you were
We
smart.
cut out we cut out the top part before we glued it.
Yeah,
Which
and I was gonna say you were smart to keep the square sides too, to have some, so the clamps would have,
yeah,
you know,
so you can hold them. Yep.
parallel angles, to.
So there's the big block of wood, and there's the finished body with the neck
Cool.
through stripes down the middle of it. Love that.
Now, how'd you do the round over on the body? Did you use like a
A
router
router,
table or?
a hand router on top of the guitar
Oh,
after
cool. Yeah,
yeah,
very
set it
cool.
on the bench.
Yeah, I guess
And
you'd have to. Yeah.
there's Dad with holding up the thing.
So three generations, huh? That's
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. He was pretty proud of that. So, and there's me. So I took it home and then just kind of set the pickups in and put the bridge on because I thought, well, I want to set it up before I do the finishing. I got to make sure this thing works. And that's
Oh
when I
yeah,
discovered, the issue with the bridge, and then got that fixed. And I had all the
good thing you
sound
did
things
that. Yeah.
plugged in. Yeah, and so that worked out okay.
I was gonna say, for folks who haven't built an instrument before and are thinking of doing it, that's one thing you will definitely have to do, is just like, probably be surprised at how often you are, just making the proper screw holes for all the hardware, and
Yep.
then fitting everything, and then taking everything back off again, and then making adjustments, and then putting it all back
That
on again. And
that I think is something that I learned is don't be afraid to redo it. Like, don't just say, well,
yeah,
it's close enough. If it's not quite right, take it off, figure out what to do. If you have to fill a screw hole with wood putty and drill a new one, do it, because it's like, it's going to last a long time if you do it right.
absolutely.
So this was, so then I made this odd guitar, and of course you can't buy a case for a guitar like that. So I had to make a case too.
Oh,
So
cool. That's even cool. Yeah,
this
cool.
is me measuring. I put the blue tape on there to say, well, how big does the case need to be?
Sure.
Because obviously that's not a guitar that's going to be easy to measure because of the odd shape. So you can't just take a tape measure, right? So I had to lay it out. And here's the start of the painting process. So I did this in my home, and I had a little room. I had a shop, and then behind the shop, I had a little room that used to be the laundry room, but then got cut in half through a remodel, and I installed an exhaust fan to go from that room directly outside, and then put up a plastic tent. So I would go in there. I got all my finishing products from Guitar Re-Ranch. I don't know if you're familiar with that site, but they had lots of good colors. The color is intended to be aged Gibson color. So it's like,
Yeah, like a little bit of yellowing.
a little bit yellow. Yep. So the yellow is actually in the color to make the thing look a little bit aged. So
Yeah, because of course, unless you're doing nitro, it's just not ever going to yellow on its own, or it's going to take forever if it ever does it. For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is just pictures as I'm doing the process. The finish on this turned out so nice. I was just so happy with it.
Like how many coats of clear did you have to do? And
I think I did about 5 of the yellow and 10 of the clear on top of that. And
yeah.
I did use a wood filler, a grain filler
first, yeah, which really makes the grain pop. That's nice.
Yep. So there it is.
You have to do wet sanding and all that sort of stuff.
The wet sanding, yeah, that was another thing that, like, I was reading like how you do sanding, and they were describing this process, and I went, I don't understand. You're kidding me. You do what? Like, you take 800 sandpaper or 1200 and you put it in water, and like, what?
Yeah.
So my first
wet sandpaper, right? You have to have the right kind of sandpaper so it doesn't just like fall apart on you. Yeah.
My first few guitars, I didn't do it, and then I thought, well, okay, I'm gonna believe that that's what you do, and you do it, and I did it, and then this one, I did all the sanding like you're supposed to. And from Guitar Re-Ranch, I got the little sponge
Oh, for
buffer
buffing.
wheels that you put in
Yeah.
your hand drill, and just buffed it with a hand drill, and it came out beautiful.
Yeah, from there it just becomes a lot of like just careful attention and keeping it
Yes.
moving, not to
Yep.
stay in one place for too long. And
And even on the paint, like if you put on the finish, you put on a coat and you see a little drip, you wait for it to dry, you sand it all out, and you start over. And it's just like, take your time, like don't be in a hurry, just
oh, for sure. And I
yeah.
know folks who have gotten the drip and you know were impatient and hadn't done it before and tried to fix the drip at the time, and of course it's just a nightmare. So that
Yeah.
what you're describing is exactly the right way to do it. It's like that'll come out in the sanding, for sure.
So here's the start of the case.
Nice.
As you can see right there, it's just a plywood with thin, I can't remember what kind of wood the boards are on the side. And there's the put in the felt. So I don't know if you can see, there's a horizontal, kind of a curved line across the middle of it where there's a little indentation for the neck. And then I built a box in it, and
It's exactly how they're built for real. I mean, when you get right down to it, I mean that's how they're built. I mean, again, if not for shop class, right? I mean, here
that's right.
we are.
That's right. So there's the finished case, and there's the guitar in the case, and there's the
Awesome.
finished guitar, me holding the guitar just to prove it's real.
And
there's
the smile on your face proved it's real, as far as I can
yeah,
see.
that's right. Trying to get an idea of the size. That's the 4001 and a Schecter, and the space between the two. And I did I think on this picture I didn't have the second tone control knob is missing because they didn't have it in stock, so I had to wait for it to be shipped. But
So what do you have going on there? Just like a volume and two tones, or?
Yeah, one volume, two tones, tone for each pickup, and a volume overall, and then the treble pickup has the Rickenbacker extra capacitor in it that gives it that extra bite.
Yeah,
so
the .0047 that you put in line, so it actually cuts.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a tight control, cuts a little bit of the low end, basically.
Yep. And then the little toggle switch cuts that in and out, so I can have it have the Rick sound, or I can just cut out the Rick sound. So there's a little more up closer picture of that. So it was a fun build. I enjoyed playing it. Oh, and there's Dad with the finished product, just like proud of his work. Had to have him show
you
off.
can tell Dad's proud. That's awesome.
Oh, and this is the stuff that I sent in for the website. So the guitar player from the band is into all kinds of media, and he takes photos and whatnot. So I said, well, let's get some photos of the guitar.
That's gorgeous.
So we had it like on a green screen and whatnot, and then he put in all the backgrounds and stuff. And I don't know if you noticed the comments when it was the bass of the week. Somebody put in the comments, now that's just bass porn.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, it is. Yeah. I mean, I mean, look at that.
I love that one.
I mean,
flying down the road.
It's like right out of a magazine. If we still read magazines,
Exactly.
At least ones are on paper, I mean, seriously, yeah. Now he's a professional photographer. He'll do this for anyone.
He'll do it for me. I know that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Because I think that might be the end of the pictures of this guy. Oh, one more.
Yep.
Actually in use. Okay, so then next is my next bass build.
So cool. So you got kind of like a Jaguar sort of body going on, and
yeah. So this one was for my daughter, who is like 5'3". So she wanted a small scale. So I got a I think it's 30 inches. That's a small scale neck, and body. The body and the neck are both from Warmoth, but I modified the body. The body looked exactly like a PJ based body, and we wanted something a little different, so we kind of shaved it off a little bit to get it to be shaped just a little different. And then here, once again, set it up, make sure, like this time I learned, before you even cut anything, put the neck on, put the bridge on, put the strings on, is everything right? So I set it up to
you learned it faster than most do, so that's what's important.
Oh gosh. And you can see in the background the left-handed Strat that I
Oh
made
yeah.
for my other son. This isn't the left-handed one. So then I thought, okay, well now we've got this guitar that's got a weird shape. How do you do a pick guard? And I said, well, I don't know. So we just started like making pick guard patterns, and we tried, different variations on the pick guard to see what we liked best. And ended up with that as the pick guard. So painted it. I think that was the Fiesta is the color, Fiesta red color. And this is like still in the process, but I kind of wanted to see how it looked with the pick guard as we made it. And that's my daughter playing it before it was quite complete, but
She looks pretty psyched.
yeah, she was excited. She was excited. And there's the finished product as we got it all done. So it's kind of a nice little short scale base.
Now, how'd you go about like cutting out the pick guard material and all that sort of stuff? Like what you use for tools and stuff?
Yeah, my dad has in his shop a bandsaw, so that was super helpful for the pick guard. And then he's got I don't know what you call it, a sander that has like probably about 5-inch diameter round
like a random
block.
orbital sander.
Yeah. And so that round block goes up and down, and he can adjust the block.
Spindle sander.
Spindle sander. That's it. That's it. Yeah. So you can.
Or
so
oscillating spindle sanders as it moves. Yeah.
Yep. That's what it was. And
pay no attention to my hands.
So we use that on that. I think that's the end of my pictures.
Super cool. Now, did you end up screwing it on? Or you're holding it on in some other way? Like what?
That's just literally just sitting there right now. I think the pickup, the space around the pickup and the neck was tight enough that it just
that's literally
held on.
What's holding it on.
And I don't know. I don't even know if that's the final. Yeah, that's the final.
Oh wow. Cool.
No, that's not the final. That was a test. This is the final. Because we had a little more of a a lip on the upper left hand side of it.
This could be the final because it looks like you've got like the lower horn, like it hasn't been.
Oh wait,
cut
no,
yet.
that's got to be the original. Maybe that is the final.
Yeah, that's got to be the final because it looks like it fits right there. Yeah. So is your daughter in the band and stuff too, or she just like plays for fun, or?
She just plays for fun. Just wanted to play bass for fun. She married a guy who plays guitar, so he can play guitar and she can play bass. And
it's a family band. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's actually what. If I go back a few pictures here, this is the family band in our basement. At New Year's Eve, we would always have a big jam session.
So how many folks are in the family band?
Well, so I have 8 kids, and most of them are involved some way or another. And then
That's
Annie,
impressive.
my wife,
yeah.
She comes down and sings maybe a little bit, but yeah. So a couple of them are really, really good. This guy is excellent on guitar. So then, now here's the killer, just a little bass note for you. So my daughter, the one I made the bass for, was asking me, we had a conversation that I thought was a pretty innocent conversation one day. And she says, Dad, what's your like your ideal bass guitar? And I said, that's easy. The Rickenbacker Chris Squire. I said, I remember back in 1990 when it first came out, I was in Guitar Center. I had one of them in my hand. It's $15.99 or something like that.
They didn't make very many of them. There's not a lot of them around. Yeah.
I was sitting there going, oh, this is the guitar. This is the one. And it's like, oh, I should get it. It's going to go up in value. I know I should get it. And at the same time, I'm going, you know what? I can't. I got 6 kids. I just can't. Right. I can't shell out that money right now. And I bet I sat there for 15 minutes, going back and forth. Ended up walking away. So for my birthday this year,
no way, that's so
this
cool.
thing came in the mail for my daughter. She bought it off Reverb. This is number 50 of 1,000, the Rickenbacker Chris Squire.
Well,
so
think of the job you had to do as a dad. I mean, when you walked away, do the right thing, right? And,
and they wanted to reward me for that. So now I have this guitar, and now I don't know what to do with my other one, but anyway, so
that is so cool, man. Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm stoked. I was so stoked when I got that. It was like, what? I can't believe this.
Now, do you have any plans for making anything else heading down the road? I mean, obviously, like you've got
Well,
lots of folks you can make instruments for besides yourself. That's so cool.
yeah, the issue is I moved about almost 2 years ago out of a house where I had enough room to have enough of a shop where I could work on stuff at home. Moved into a smaller house. Kids are all grown now. Moved into a smaller house, and I don't right now have a shop big enough to do that. So I'm thinking, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 years away or so from retiring. And I'm thinking when I retire, I'll probably remodel and make a shop where I can really
Yeah.
do stuff. Because I like doing that. It's really fun. But like when I think about making another one, that's the first question that pops in my mind is like, well, what's the shape going to be? Like, what are you going to make it like? How are you going to make it shaped like? And I thought of, it'd be fun to like redo something like, make one that's shaped like this Pisco, just because it's kind of a goofy shape.
Yeah, kind of like make a base twin to that. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that'd be super. That'd be wicked cool. But it's always fun though to like kind of mash two things up like you did with the Explorer too, like like a
yeah,
Thundercaster
yeah,
or
yeah.
insert
That's a
yeah
better name. Maybe I'll
yeah
call it the Thundercaster now. No,
that's
and,
all.
and actually, one thing that I would love to try is making a neck, like from like
Yeah,
just start with the block of wood and make the neck. But my little limited looking into that is you need a lot of tools and
it's
different
not as
sets of
bad as you would
skills.
think. It's
Really?
like I know for me it was really intimidating, and but then a good friend of mine, Max, who used to work here, Max taught me how to do it, and once you actually do it and you actually see get to really see what's going on there, it's not so bad. It's just kind of like peeling back that curtain and really seeing what's involved with it,
Okay.
and then like on my first one, he really bailed me out because I was a little bit overzealous with the neck profile, so it quickly ended up having like kind of a V shape that I ended up really liking a lot. But I mean, I was definitely taking off too much material too fast, and he kind of bailed me out. Uh, but no, it's not too bad.
And the
In
fret
terms of
isn't the fretting is the thing that like freaks me out, like getting those perfect cuts and perfect place and all that kind of stuff.
well, I mean, there's ways to do it. I mean, like the like at Max's shop, he's got like Stu Mac makes this special table saw blade, which is like it has like so it'll cut. I think it's like 0.023 of an inch
Okay.
basically. So it cuts the curve. So whatever scale length you want to use, they have a like a template. So like
Ah, okay.
like a plexi sort of template, has little grooves in it, and then you have a, little crosscut sled for your table saw, has a little indexing pin. So you double side tape that template to the opposite side of the fingerboard
Okay.
when the neck is still square. And then you literally are just like lining up the indexing pin. You make your cut, and then you go to the next slot
Sweet.
in the indexing pin, and from there, and it's just a matter of getting getting your depth right and everything. And yeah, I mean,
Now,
ultimately, I mean,
did your first fingerboard, was it a success or did you have to like
yeah,
try a couple times?
I
Awesome.
wish I had it here. In fact, probably the fretting of the whole thing probably was like the best thing I did, honestly. Oddly enough,
Oh, that's
it's,
cool.
and I wanted like I like fingerboards that I like flat fingerboards, or I like to call the infinity radius, for fun. Uh, but especially if you play like a classical guitar, I mean,
Yeah.
flat fingerboard, it's great, and so, but of course, there were no sanding blocks like that. Everything had a radius
Some
sanding
kind of
block,
radius.
so
Yeah.
I had to get creative with that. But no, I mean, you get the frets in there, if you've got a little fret rocker kind of thing, so didn't really have didn't have to do much leveling. It worked. If I definitely, that was another thing that I almost screwed up because he had an arbor press as well, and the very first fret I went to push in, I pushed it in too far and like actually like indented the wood, so we had
Oh
to
gosh.
like get it out, and which basically spray some water, get it hot, and the wood actually came back to life. But so another thing I had to fix. So I just used a hammer after that. I used a dead blow
Ah,
hammer, and I much prefer that method.
yeah.
But that was something. I mean, but in my mind, I thought, hey, obviously, I want to press these in. That seems like much easier to do, and like that would be, But for whatever reason, I can hammer them. The
And it
pressing
worked.
thing, I screwed it up right away. You know?
Nice, nice. Was that a bass? Your first one where you made the neck?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But
Cool.
that arbor press just left a bad taste in my mouth. I was like afraid to like do it ever again, and basically,
So I just thought of this. I could just make a fretless bass and not have to deal with frets at all.
True. Yeah, you just have to deal with the side dots, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Get them in the right place
Which
and away
isn't
you go.
bad either. But no,
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people are just like intimidated by the fact that you have to route the channel for a truss rod and getting that,
Yep.
But once you know where that goes, and and if you're decent enough with a router anyway, I mean, again, as long as you just take your time and make a lot of passes, that once you do that part, it's all downhill from there. Honestly,
Interesting.
it's not too
And
bad. That's the
for
part I was
the
scared of.
neck, did you hand shape the neck with like a plane kind of thing? I don't know what you call it, the two-handled
Yeah, well,
scraper thing.
like a spoke shave. No, I didn't use
Yeah.
a spoke shave. Basically, like stuff like it's the only thing that's close to, but something like when
Oh,
it's
okay.
like shift into rasps.
Okay.
But some different types of rasps and files, that sort of thing. But
Cool.
this sort of thing works out great for especially if you're it just
Yeah.
stays nice and flat
Yeah.
essentially.
Cool.
Not that you'd want to use for going around corners, but in terms of like getting the
Yeah.
overall shape of the neck, this is kind of like my go-to. Thank you so much for spending this time with us and everything. And
Yeah, you're very welcome.
just man, I still can't get over the Chris Squire bass. That's just that's so cool.
That was too much. That was like I was so floored by that, and actually the good thing about it too, just a little side note, which is also like I've told so many people this in my life, like they want to play something, they want to play guitar, they want to play trumpet, they want to do whatever, and they want to play guitar, and they're like, well, there's this $100 acoustic guitar I can get, should I get it? And I say no. I say get one that sounds good and plays good. You get a crappy guitar, you're going to start playing and you're going to go, this is too hard, I don't like it, it doesn't sound good, it hurts my fingers, right?
Yeah.
I hate it. Yeah.
You quit.
So I had kind of burned out on playing. Like, just like, I'm sick of this. The last band I didn't work out very well, and it was like, eh. And then I got the Chris Squire, and it's like I just play for fun now, and it's just like it's so nice just to go, pick it up and play a Yes song or play a Beatles song, and just like I'm not playing in a band. I'm just like I pick it up every day and play a little bit and getting my chops back and just enjoying it. So it's cool. A good instrument can help you so much because you like the instrument, it sounds great, you love you love to hear it, you love the feel of the instrument, and you play more, you enjoy it more, you practice more. It makes you a better player. So.
Well, hey, thank you. That's probably a great place to wrap it up. I guess I've been wrapping up these with a question lately. This has been my go-to is what's a perfect day for Mike Rumpza?
A perfect day for Mike Rumpza is about it's sunny and cool, and I can get up in the morning and sit out on my porch and have a cup of coffee, and then later the family comes over and we have a nice dinner, and then after dinner we sit out on the porch with some whiskey and some pipes and cigars and just have a good conversation. That's a day for me.
Well, let's wish you lots of those. That sounds like a good day for me too. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mike. This is great, and love to catch up with you again down the road, especially once you start making some more stuff. It'd be great to see what you're up to for sure.
Well, and before I build my first neck, I'm going to talk to you. I'll give you a call.
Please do. Yeah, you know how to get a hold of me. So if you have any questions or anything, please do. I'm happy to. We can do a Zoom. We can do that whole thing. Honestly, get right down to it.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I thought, I'm just a nobody.
Thanks for saying yes.
Just threw something together. So I'm honored to be able to be on the podcast here and to show you some of the stuff that I did.
Thank you so much. We're super excited. Frankie and I are working really hard on putting these things together, and we just need to get some love out there. Thanks for listening.